My name is John Moore. My father created 200 miniature replicas of rural America. The brown and white farm is one of the replicas he built. This was a farm I was raised on. As you will note, the colors brown over white. We were located 7 miles north of US Highway 18 in northwest Iowa. If you'll note the photograph on the wall over there, that is what the farm looked like in '56. When I came and took over the museum in 1999, Mother took her donations wherever she could get them. There was a lot of odd farm equipment in the yard. Dad was a farm all man, red equipment. So I started collecting the farm all equipment. You'll know the corn picker, the tractors, etc. We did have one piece of John Deere equipment, this little H John Deere. The only thing it was really good for was pulling wagons around the farmyard, and it was excellent for breaking calves for halter for 4-H projects. Dad also raised purebred horned Herefords. Any heifer that he was going to keep in the herd, he also broke the halter. You could walk out in the feedlot and walk up to a cow, take it by its horn, and you could walk it around. It just thought it was being shown. The barn is the largest building in the brown and white display. There's over 8,000 nails in the barn. Dad did keep accurate records of his buildings, each one of his buildings. But when he died in '83, they were stored back in his workshop behind the home in Marengo. But I was raised on this farm, and Dad sold it in 1958, and we moved to the neighboring town of Algona. This green combine in the machine shed and the 2-bottom plow were toys of mine when I was a child. They're the only farm toys that survived the flood Mother and Dad were in. Now when I started collecting the farm all equipment, I had a gentleman in Indiana build this bolt-on standalone cultivator that would be bolted onto the M farm all. And this is how Dad cultivated his crops. The farmhouse you see here was my first miniature. This was built in 1992 at my workshop in San Bernardino, California. Dad had never built a replica of the house. He was ashamed of the house. This was a house from the turn of the century, no indoor facilities, no running water, but it was a great house to grow up in. And when I was in law enforcement at the time, starting to stress and thinking, well, why pay a shrink to tell me I'm stressing when I can do something else? And I thought, what better method of taking care of that than beating on wood? So over the years, we had taken a lot of material from Iowa back to Southern California. And I thought, well, why don't I build something? And I got looking around and said, wait a minute, Dad never built a house. So I went through the photo albums. Luckily, we had pictures of all 4 sides of the house. I drew up what I thought the house looked like, sent the drawings to Mother, and she put dimensions on the house. Mothers of that period knew exactly how big the windows were and how big the rooms were. They wallpapered the rooms, and they made curtains for all the windows. She sent them back with all the dimensions, and I started building. There was a note in there, curtains will follow. She had a miniature curtain maker, and a few weeks later, this package arrives, and in individual plastic bags were curtains for each room, and they were identified as to which room they were to go in. And so this was added to the display in 1993.